kit check?
I don't know, but yeah. So okay, we're live, and
Hey,
yeah. So we got to figure out what the hell to call this one because can't just call it the Dank Tank, like what garage talk. Like,
garage talk.
I don't know.
The kit check.
Yeah. Either way, so if you're watching this, we're the Dank Tank Crew, and now we're gonna talk. We both gotta love a tech. We're both machine heads
We're
through and through, nerds,
yeah,
geeks,
we're both
master
techies.
builders,
Yeah,
masturbators.
we both have backgrounds in our work with the military around armored vehicles, tanks, reconnaissance vehicles. Um,
George is a
Tony,
trained
you got
biomed tech, and I'm an
yeah,
asshole do-it-yourself backyard engineer.
yeah. Tony has a background of machining, fabrication, welding. Taught himself CAD, 3D printing, and material sciences. So we're we're just a couple. We do have a bit of a background. We're kind of amateurish, but we've seen technology that some people have never seen or have very little experience around. So what we're gonna do is pull apart sci-fi shows that we think that are pretty awesome in our own opinion. And if any requests want to come up, sure. But what we're gonna do is pull apart the tech and the kit there and kind of wonder how it works. So this week we're looking at the Expanse, and we're kind of specifically looking at back suits, weapons, power armor, even spacecraft. Since Tony has a bit of a background in astrophysics, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, I've spent most of my time reading about it and learning as much as I can, reading papers and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Um, However, I get a bit more of a background in biology, so squishy bits. If it's green and and it smells, it's biology.
Hmm.
If it moves
At
and
least as far
it
as we know,
bleeds.
as far as we know. But
Oh yeah,
like I know you and I both love the show The Expanse. Like hands down, it's the most
like
realistic science fiction show that's been on TV I think ever.
hard science. Yeah, I know. Like hard science fiction. The last show that I think I got giddy over that was Firefly.
But the system in Firefly was completely and totally like stellarly impossible.
Suppose.
Like, come on, like, what was it like six proto suns and like three suns and all this other stuff? Is like you've seen the system, like the whole verse right in Firefly. There's no way that could
Uh,
actually exist without everything
okay,
whipping
but
off wildly into orbit.
oh yeah, no, like as far as like the setup of the solar systems. I mean, we like human as human beings, we like to carry our environment around with us.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter where we go. Pardon for coughing into the mic. Um, so even in this house right now, my room is at a comfortable uh, 20 or 19 degrees Celsius with no wind. Um, I'm adequately clothed. If it gets cold, I can change my environment by either adding clothes or turning up the heat. Even the oxygen I breathe right now is being regulated within my house, uh, and we bring our environment with us. So we can't argue with an environment like what's in Firefly. You can't really survive that unless you have something very very specific, and that incorporates a lot of technology.
Yeah, but like a lot of science fiction shows, like they get certain aspects correct. Like I found that quite a few of them get one or two things correctly, but then they get so much more wrong.
Oh
And so
God.
far, The Expanse has been the least wrong.
Yeah, I think what was best put was one of my roommates, whose name I will not mention. I was watching The Expanse, and he's very critical about TV shows and such, but he actually liked this. and he explained it very, very clearly that this was a show that didn't have to make believe how gravity actually how you actually make gravity. You have to have an opposing force pushing in a certain direction at a certain acceleration. Well, in some fucking TV shows, they'll say, "Oh, it's gravity panels" or some fucking
Yeah.
random fucking bullshit like that. Well,
Like,
this is like they generate thrust.
yeah.
Actually, spaceships would be more your side.
Yeah, like, all right, I'll just give you a quick shakedown of like where certain universes get it right, like popular, well-known universes. Babylon 5 got space combat almost correct. Like they got the movement correct, they got the types of ships correct. Like the only thing they got wrong was the orientation of the ships, but for the most part, they got the physics of flight in 0G correct. Like it was all non-Newtonian. Like their fighters, like the Star Fury, was the most realistic fighter ever created in science fiction, hands down. And then other franchises got but they never got the distances right in Babylon 5. And in real space combat, you'll never use manned fighters anyway. You'd use swarms of drones.
Yeah, kind of like in the Ender's Game movie that came out a couple years back.
Yeah, Ender's Game or Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. Like their ships would launch huge amounts of combat attack drones. And like a lot of these franchises, they get like so much right, like, and then so much more wrong. But the Expanse, just everything is just so hard correct, like right down to thrust and rotational gravity, the orientation of ships, the fact that the engines are still weapons.
Yeah.
Space combat, orbital mechanics. It's got everything.
Oh, it's like even the medical side of it just boggles my mind as a biomed tech. Just even looking at the what's on the Rocinante, their medical stations there, the biogel.
Mm-hmm.
That is a concept tech. They want to try to incorporate regenerative medicine into those situations, but it's a lot of. But the one thing that the Expanse can really grab you in is that if you have the resources, you can pull this stuff off.
Yeah.
But right now we don't have, like, as of right now where we sit on planet Earth, we don't have the necessary resources to use to make this kind of technology. Anti-cancer medication. I mean, that's always
the injector pack that you see that they got in what was that beginning of end of season 1?
Yeah, end of season 1. Yeah, and they were like, yeah, here you go. It's just a lot of...
Yeah, and it's like the auto injector's already underneath the skin as like hard mounted prosthetic, and it had cartridges you had to refill to constantly administer your medication, or you got all the cancer.
Yeah, like you were getting, like, this is like injecting all the antioxidants, everything that was good for your body.
Oh yeah, well, what was it? The two characters were exposed to something like 20 times the lethal amount of radiation or something like that.
Oh yeah, those guys are fucking nuked.
Yeah.
Even season 4, when they were performing surgery trying to remove a piece of shrapnel from the individual in 0G. Now you have to deal with blood flow within that environment. How do you mitigate error? Say suctioning out the blood in 0G, and how are you going to make slight alterations in the surgery? This is where. Go ahead. What was up?
Hold on, just to interrupt you here. They actually demonstrated that in the previous season, in season 3. They demonstrated that they've actually got just basically hand vacs to get the blood out of the air. It just sucks.
Yeah.
Like just wet dry vacs essentially is what they've got.
It sucks, but like, let's say if that was an arterial bleed, not a venous bleed, like that would shoot across the fucking ship. Now you have this stream of blood going out of everywhere, because you got pressure. You might have pressure from the heart, but then again, you are in 0G, so your heart is at a relaxed state, and while in free float, it's very lazy. So says astronauts.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on this.
Well,
Um,
they like the episode in question. They were all locked in orbit around a station, no momentum period. So they were in constant 0 G.
yeah,
Like there was no gravity. The only ship with gravity was the OPA Behemoth because
yeah,
they had spin gravity. But in all the other
yeah.
ships, they had
Spit
to
that
use
giant drum.
vacuums and whatnot to soak up the blood and whatnot. But the other thing you were talking about, the arterial spray. Oh shoot, where was I going with this? Like it's funny you just bring up the bleeding because they mentioned in the show that um, if they don't have gravity to allow the blood to drain, that you would just hemorrhage to death internally and die anyway. And I found that interesting. Like, is there any actual truth to that, or?
I there when looking, I looked it up a bit, but I'll revisit it again. Your heart, your heart does need a bit of force. Does need force to circulate the blood through your system. When there's not enough,
Like,
when there's not much resistance or not much effort that to put into the heart to pump, then you slow down a bit
well,
more.
yeah, it's because the heart is essentially a muscle, and then if the muscle doesn't receive any, like the human body is calibrated to 1 G, which is why astronauts in microgravity, all their muscles, including their hearts, atrophy over time.
Yeah.
And the only reason they don't atrophy entirely is because they exercise vigorously, like I think it's like 2-3 hours a day.
So was the ESU used in for before I carry on? ESU stands for Electrical Surgical Unit. It uses electricity, an electrical arc to cauterize and coagulate living tissue during surgery when there's a lot of um, vascular material that the surgeon has to work with. Um, this is what I this is one of the other points I wanted to bring up about season 4, that the episode where they were performing surgery in 0 G
Mm-hmm.
was that they had this ESU that was not only sucking out the excess blood, but coagulating the tissue. So, not cauterizing. Forget the actual name. What it was? Fulgration. It just, you're burning the tissue.
That's
But that's a different
cauterization.
process. What was that?
That's cauterization.
No, there's fulmigation, which is actually burning it, like charring the tissue.
Oh, okay.
Coagulation, you're just you're creating scars, or not coagulation. Cauterization, you're creating scars. Cut, coag. Anyway, although I don't really want to go into too much detail, but that would be something that you'd see in a surgical unit at an OR.
Mm-hmm.
And having that, and yes, that does exist in outer, and having that in outer space would actually make sense, because you have to because trying to get a needle and thread, and I can only imagine what that would look like in 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 those areas, like just 0 G trying to go in there with a needle and thread, like, oh my god, this suture shit
The
sucks.
tissue would swell too much.
Yeah.
With no pressure
It
to
would,
actually draw the blood out of the tissue, the tissue would continue to swell.
Oh,
But
it'd be a
yeah,
fucking
like
mess.
you must really enjoy the auto docs.
I do. I fucking do. Like, they just blow my fucking mind every time. And like, just slap in. I'm like, okay, now you have a patient monitor, so there's your SpO2, there's your fucking
all integrated through the
NIBP,
chair and that armband.
yeah. I bet you, for those who don't know any who may know medical companies, there's one called Stryker Systems, and they make some really Gucci stuff, and that's something I could see them making. Just pack up and move to Mars and make some Gucci auto docs. But yeah, no, the medical systems, the medical devices in that show just blow my mind, and I would love to start working on stuff like that.
Yeah, that would. That is definitely like to figure out the engineering and something like that. Like just the processing power required to consistently analyze all that information and draw out the data from it.
Well, isn't there a quantum network in the Expanse as well?
I do not recall what type of processors they use on their ships, or if there's too much mention of them. All I know is that I guess that the AI that they use on their ships, it's non-sapient, non-sentient. It's just
it's railed. It's set within a box, set within parameters.
Yeah, it just behaves within set parameters and can interpret the data from the ship based on the sensors all through it. Like in season 1, there Naomi Nagata there basically has it out with the AI over nothing when the AI can't even respond because it's not truly it's not sapient, which I think a lot of people get wrong when it comes to AI. There's between a sapient AI and just an artificial intelligence.
Yeah, like if that AI could talk, I'm sure it would probably sound like Robbie the robot from fucking Lost in Space.
Yeah, but it can't because it's got no concept of self. It's just a reaction set of programs.
Yeah,
it's still confined to a certain set of parameters.
Like a stimulus response, if you've taken machine learning, yeah, it has to follow a certain set of parameters. I don't know if you've seen any of those stupid memes. Like if you go here, those stupid flowchart memes. Like if you have money, buy weed. Yes or no? No, then get money to buy weed. If you have money to buy weed, then buy weed. If you don't have anyone to buy weed from, anyway, I'm rambling on. But the flowchart for programming works very similar, and machine learning. So
yeah, but the fact that the ship's AI can scan the ship, like when they got in the Battle of Toth Station, when it detected it had one specific thruster assembly manifold down, it could tell them right exactly where it was and what needed to be done to it, and Amos knew right away how to patch that because the computer told him.
Yep.
Like that's the kind of level of like it's still like it's just. The realism is there, and it's not even that far off in this realm right now. Like, we're already at the stage where, we're pretty much almost smart integrating homes. Like, even this house I'm in here, it's got a whole smart system for the climate control of this house.
Yeah, I would love to get smart lighting in the house as well. Would be nice. And you're gonna eventually start seeing that more and more. Hopefully less invasive. Once we get over 2020, let's be honest. Once we get over 2020, then we'll start talking about having more smart homes.
Yeah.
But yes, I can definitely see you're definitely going to see a lot more artificial intelligence incorporated within not only vehicles and houses, aircraft, more independently, leaving more control to humans to do human things, and then the rest of the work can be done by the AI, but with correct understanding and training from the humans. We are the stimulus. They provide the response. Here's
the thing, man. Like, I know AI and automation, they're the future, but at a certain point, we've got to say that. Like, there's got to be a point where we have to say, okay, humans still require jobs. We still require purpose. And as much as we love to say it, not everyone can be a goddamn astronaut or a fucking artist. Some people are just destined to fucking push a broom and a mop.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but I'm saying that AI is not going to take away, not going to become sentient and kill us all like Terminator. But
yeah, no. The possibility of Skynet, I doubt it. It's all the tool of the user.
Yeah.
So if they program this thing to be evil, it's going to be evil. Like, look what happens when they put that one AI, that one machine learning Google put on, was it Google Plus there? And within 24 hours, it was quoting Mein Kampf or something like that. because it learned based on what people taught it. And unfortunately, when you throw something on the internet, you're going to get all kinds of tools like, oh god, what's the first thing we want to do? We want to see how bad we can just fuck this up.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, humanity loves a great car crash.
Oh yeah, and I mean we'll go back to the Expanse, but yeah, humanity never fails to deliver, and even technological bumbles in the Expanse have happened to, like, if you look at the development of the Epstein drive that was in season 2.
Yeah. Well, there's very few unexplained technologies of the show. So.
Yeah, there's very few. That's one of them. That was one of them, but it was a high enough thrust that could generate close to 1G.
No, it's a extremely efficient plasma fusion drive. Like, it's extremely fuel efficient, so it can it's extremely fuel efficient, and it provides a maximum, I think, 25 or 30 Gs of continuous thrust. So, according to the lore of the show, Solomon Epstein fired the Epstein drive up around the orbit of Mars of an older ship that shouldn't have had the fuel to make it past the asteroid belt. But his ship finally ran out of fuel. I think it was somewhere around outside of the orbit of Uranus. So, Uranus. So he ran out of gas at Uranus. Weed makes humor so much funnier.
Yeah.
So that's several billion kilometers.
That's a lot. That's
like
pretty
Neptune is 4
man.
billion. I believe Uranus is sitting at around 2.3 maybe. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, it's several astronomical units away.
And
so
it made it there
firing a ship off that constant thrust, I think, what was it? He finally hit 10G before his body stroked out and he died. And that's the other thing that they've got along with this high G acceleration. They realize that the human body can't take it, so they have to inject certain drugs to increase the strength of your blood vessels so you don't have a stroke and KO during the rapid accelerations of the of moving around in a 3D environment in space.
Yeah, because no one can be wearing fucking high G suits all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, even Russian pilots, I'm pretty sure, I don't know how if their safety standards have changed since the 80s or 90s. But they would wear half flight suits just to mildly protect them, just enough to keep the blood going to your head.
To keep it from pulling up in the bottom of your thighs. All right, so let's try that again. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, OBS decided to have a fit at me. And yeah, there we go. Now that I've knocked it down to something actually manageable, we're good to go.
Yeah.
All right, so I managed to get the size chart here actually too. So the Donager class clocks in at 475.
Jesus.
Yeah. So just under 500 meters. The Canterbury clocks in at about a kilometer, and the Behemoth clocks in at just over 2,000 meters.
So 2 kilometers long.
Yeah.
That's
and I believe impressive. 300 kilometers wide. Or not 300 kilometers, 300 meters wide.
Okay.
Yeah, you can apparently fit 4 Donagers side by side inside without touching.
That's impressive. That's a lot of people housed in that one area.
Yeah.
That is a civilization at its fine in space right there. That's like, I don't know if you've seen the movie Elysium.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Halo budget getting burnt. Yeah, yeah, you can see that in that show
Well,
as
they
well.
burned
But
the Halo budget on that movie and on what was it?
Chappie,
No, District
District 9.
9.
Yeah, District 9 was a good movie.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, back to the Expanse. Uh, and just the life support systems and the societies that have to live on there. They, like in one of your previous videos, talking about the OPA, mentioning how Belter lifestyle has to make things last for a long time with virtually nothing.
Yeah. And they exemplify that in season 4 when they start off the colony Illus.
Yeah. Yeah, in season 4 also, back to medical talk. 3D printing medications. So that's an actual DARPA project being funded as we speak. Well,
Yeah.
probably got shut down for a bit, but that's what they want to do. They want to make sure that that military and soldiers can 3D print their own medications in austere conditions with with only specific resources, without having the demand for expiration dates or administration costs, supply chains. Where are we, and as well as like the ability to get these medications from some areas. Like I think most medications in the world come from China. Um, so the ability to 3D print, or sorry, to print your own medications with, say, these reagents, a little bit of opium here, synthetic bonding agents there. I'm not a chemist, by the way, um, but you get what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
And you can print yourself some ibuprofen or some Percocets. Yeah, that'd be cool. 3D print Percocets.
But yeah, no, like they use they make heavy use of the 3D medical printers in what is it? Their season 4.
Yeah, because
They
that's
all get that
exactly
eye
what
allergy.
the what.
The eye allergy or whatever it is. It turns all their vision green.
Oh yeah, fuck that. They it was just politely living in a parasitic way, but not really. It takes away your eyesight, but it doesn't do anything else to you. At least not known for a long period of time
No, not
until.
until those stupid
Um,
slugs with every toxin known to everything falls on
oh,
them.
the fucking slugs with the neurotoxin.
Yeah.
That was almost close to VX fucking gas. Like VX gas is one of the fucking gnarliest nerve agents on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And these little fucking bugs fucking release a toxin very similar to it. They'll just grease you instantly. So, yeah, I mean, okay, having that so we have something similar to that on Earth. There is toxic slugs in oceans. Most are extremely colorful, and which is a universal sign of stay the fuck away from me.
Mm.
Usually bright insects do the same thing. Caterpillars are notorious for them. So if you see a brightly colored caterpillar, you're gonna instantly. So it's kind of a warning sign that it's extremely toxic. So yeah, and these slugs, I do believe, share that kind of similar.
Yeah, they also
similar
glow
trait.
heavily under ultraviolet light or something like that.
Yeah, so they have like a similar warning sign.
Yeah.
No, but it's and even like the weapon systems that they're used in the show, discharging a firearm in outer space. I would love to actually see that happen.
A lot of experiments have been conducted. The problem is with overheating. There's no.
But it's
For what people don't forget is, yeah, these explosions. 1 second, sorry, my cat is getting all caught up in the cables here. I gotta get him out of here. Come on, there you go, buddy. Go. No, go away. Come on. Right, come up here.
after these messages.
Come up to the chair.
We'll be right back.
Cats, always assholes.
Yes.
Oh, I love my cats, all of them. But yeah, so the thing is, explosions cause heat, right? And in
Yep.
space, there's no medium to actually dissipate heat. So things in space will overheat because the only way you can radiate it is through radiance. Okay, there's no wind or any of the other typical mediums you use to cool down and dissipate heat from an engine. You can
Not
only
even from.
radiate it out in the infrared, which is why like the
Yes.
ISS and all these satellites, not only do they have big solar panels, they've also got those big white things on the sides. Those are
Yep.
heat radiators. They pump fluid constantly through all the systems of the ISS because all those computers produce heat, and without it, all the heat builds up, and those things would turn into ovens before long.
Yeah. So even having spins, even spinning will
Yeah,
not actually
and
create any
it's
kind
the
of.
same thing in space when you fire weapons. Those chemical explosions cause heat. The weapons can't dissipate the heat, so they rapidly overheat.
Yeah. So
Which
you're
is
gonna so in order so if you look at some of the weapon systems in the in the Expanse, especially the MCRN, um,
the
there was
point
a really
defense
good
guns
video.
is my only real point of contention.
What's that?
Like the point defense guns really don't have any applicable heat dissipation system. They just treat them as regular Gatling guns, hoping that
Well, like,
like firing caseless ammunition. So, but there's still no heat baffles or radiators or anything attached to these guns that dissipate heat. So I feel that that's the only unrealistic aspect of of the series because you're not going to get
yeah,
heat. You're not going to get heat buildup from friction or anything or any chemical like from the torpedoes or the railguns. There's no contact with the railguns, and the only heat buildup you're going to get is in the magnetic coils themselves.
yeah. But the
But
way the Gatling, but the way the the design of the Gatling gun spins, it's meant to actually cool it off.
yeah, that only functions inside a place where there's a
An
medium to
atmosphere.
dissipate that heat.
Yeah,
There's no
with an
medium to
appropriate
dissipate that
atmosphere.
heat in space. So unless every one of those barrels is liquid cooled,
Maybe MCRN's pretty fucking cheesy with their tech if you have the resources.
yeah, because the UN's point defense guns are only single and twin barrel link cannons.
Yeah, because
And
they don't have they
on
probably
the
don't have the
stealth
resources.
frigates, it's the same thing. They're just it's like a twin linked auto gun for the point defense.
Right. Um, but looking at their small arms, um, the for those who want to better understand about heat dissipation in small arms as well as most firearms, semi-automatic systems. In-range TV did a really good example. Under thermal imagery, they compared both the gas impingement system of the AR-15 systems and the gas piston systems of weapons like the SCAR and the 8K. So they viewed that under a thermal camera, and you could see how heat dissipation on the gas impingement uh, heats the entire weapon up. I'm not saying it's a bad design. It's just that it gets hot quickly, but it's less recoiling. There's trade-offs. It all depends on what you want to do. But the gas piston system, heat is trapped within the barrel and around the gas port, while everything else spitting all the gas that requires the actual mechanism that is required to move the mechanism is still contained. Now, I think you said that. I think you were mentioning that these the projectiles or the ammunition is caseless.
Yeah, yeah, all the firearms in the Expanse fire cases ammunition because zero G, you don't want stuff floating around freely.
Nope, you're right.
So it's all frangible ammunition, so you don't puncture holes in the hull. So the minute it hits the hull, it just blows apart.
Yep,
So you get a
we
little bit of
have.
micro shrapnel everywhere, but for the most part, you also don't get over penetration. You don't get penetration of walls, and it's
Mhm.
caseless, so you don't have brass cases flying around. Because once you start to execute high G maneuvers all over the place, those brass casings are going to turn into spall real quick, and they're going to cut your crew to ribbons.
Yep. So we this is all true Frangible ammunition is used by law enforcement and military when they're firing at close range at targets, especially if they're armored. Steel targets are kind of what we use frangible ammunition for.
Hmm.
Some game is also we have frangible ammunition for that too. It's a lot of it's just compressed copper. Caseless ammunition has been around since what? God, fuck the space age.
Yeah, around the beginning of the space age. It started off with the
It's
gyrojet, and then the Kraut Space Magic G11.
Yeah, there was a Beretta SMG that fired caseless ammunition.
Yeah, I
The
think
one
everyone's
the
more or
one
less taken a stab at it at this point to varying degrees of success and failure. But the most part is just the durability of the ammunition.
Yeah. So again, this show takes place about 200 years in the future. We don't know how that manufacturing process goes, but essentially, you have a brick of solidified propellant with a primer on the back that can be electrically discharged.
Yeah,
Um,
but you can
for
actually
this,
see good mock-ups of it in several parts of the show when you look at Amos's shotgun because he
which is
keeps
a
the shells
scar.
on the carrier on the outside,
Yeah.
and they're like almost like it's a white polymer like solid
Yep.
propellant.
So our background being armored crewmen, our tanks used to use a form of caseless ammunition. It worked well with This worked well with armored vehicles. Well, it was semi-caseless, but you had about a 1 meter long shell that would go into the gun, and you'd have something that would be the size of an ashtray that would come out after the weapon was
Yeah, just basically the
discharged.
primer.
What was that?
Basically, just more or less the primer.
Yeah, it was just a long kind of rod, and then a little ashtray-looking
Yeah.
device that came out.
Oddly enough, I'm
Um,
using one for my key holder right now.
um, but yeah, you're right about the spent casings. Oh yeah, the one thing about caseless ammunition that you can, if all you need is the propellant, you can actually make the cyclic rate a lot smaller, so less moving parts on a caseless ammunition firing weapon. I mean, correct me if I'm right. If anyone has more knowledge on this, let's say Ian from fucking Forgotten Weapons comes on here and starts shouting at us saying blah blah blah. But essentially you can have less travel distance for the mechanism,
Yeah.
making it a lot more making the cycling rate a lot more fast. The G11 did it as well. It had three fire modes. You had automatic, which was a really slow rate of fire, single shot, and then burst, which was a rapid three-shot burst that sounded like one shot
Yeah.
because of the travel distance of the ammunition or the travel distance of the mechanism was shortened. You're right about the Spalding because both of us have been in tanks before, and we were already told like make sure your areas are clean, make sure everything like that, make sure that
Yeah.
there's nothing is can bounce around because if you get hit with a mine, everything inside is traveling at the speed of
That whatever that explosion is,
what was that?
it's traveling at whatever the speed of whatever that explosion was.
Exactly. So you have your water bottle that you might have left between your legs. Next thing you know, it's flying you and hitting in the jaw.
Mm-hmm.
Or even dust particles too that can travel at the speed of the explosion. So spent casings, everything can be a hazard.
Mm-hmm. Because like one thing you notice about the show, like everything is like magnetically either sealed, like magnetically like stuck to the bulkheads, or sealed away in drawers. Like nothing is left loose.
Yeah.
Hell, even when you go
Uh,
to sleep, they've got buckles on the beds.
Fuck, keep it from floating away. Because at this point, like no one's astronauts anymore. Because space exploration is kind of well come as you go.
Yeah.
But it's not as like over glorified or over simplified like you see in movies like Alien, where you basically just have a bunch of space truckers.
Yeah.
Um,
So feasibly, what do you think we are with about at least some of the lower end tech? How far away do you think we are with the Expanse? Do you think we're as far as like they think, like 26th century?
I think we have. Um, we have a lot more things to work on as far as technology goes. Um, yeah, I think we're getting really close for our own benefits, but we're still in a very growing phase. The exoskeleton industry is still very young,
Yeah.
but getting popular, and we see in the Expanse, uh, Bobby's power armor, the Martian power armor that is,
Yeah.
and the tool handling exoskeletons in the fourth season, which actually do exist.
Yeah.
Lockheed Martin's Fortis is a good example. Exobionics has one.
We'll definitely
There's
get
Zero
into
G
the
Arm. That,
exo armor on the next episode
oh,
of this.
oh, yeah. So, but yeah, sorry, that was just a touch on it.
Yeah, like
Um,
this episode, I think we'll focus on a grand overview of the show, and then we'll spend the next couple episodes breaking down each piece of tech we like,
yeah. So,
and then from there, I think we'll branch out. We'll just do each sci-fi universe as we see them.
yeah, but in a sense, are we there yet? Uh, we are on we are on a boundary of getting there.
Yeah,
It's just that how we approach this has to be taken almost in the same way as the New World was discovered. Um, you can make fun of the Space Force all you want, but n- some some things are usually done by the by military. Some things are usually done by the military in these senses to protect assets that are already there.
yeah,
For So for the U.S. who want to run the Space Force, they want to protect their assets in that they have in low orbit. So it makes sense. But to say that we're going to have shock drop troops coming in, I can't say that.
yeah. I
Um,
think we're a few years away from ODSTs yet,
but actually making travel to the moon and travel to low orbit quicker, easier, and potentially safer, we are very close to that.
oh yeah. Anywho, bro, I think we're gonna wrap this episode up
Yeah,
this time
no,
around.
yeah, we're good.
We got about 30 minutes in last time before OBS had a stroke on us, so I think this should put us in at around 50 minutes, give or take.
Yeah,
So
no,
I think
I dig it.
next week we'll break down the exosuits of the
Oh
Expanse.
God, I'm gonna love that. Fucking break out some Jose Pons, very big exoskeleton author and
Mm-hmm.
editor. Uh, yeah, no, well, this would be a good time to shine.
Hell yeah, bro. All right, man.
Fuck yeah,
So with that, I think we're gonna wrap her up tonight. Okay.
solid copy,
All
bro.
right. So I'm gonna,
Take care.
everyone have a good night. I'm gonna stop this recording now.